Hi everybody, it's Chris and welcome back to another video. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm going to share with you 30 of my favourite albums from a particular subgenre of rock music, and that's melodic rock, or AOR as it's sometimes called. Now, back in the late 70s and especially the early 80s, I really liked this style of music. Now, it's not for everybody, but you're probably here because you either like this style of music or you're interested in the albums that I'm going to share. And these for me are 30 albums that I think define the genre. I've just got one album from any one band, and that stopped me having multiple albums from any one particular band, because there are a few bands that probably would dominate a top 30. So one album from any one band, and these albums are probably from the late 70s through to about 86, but back in about 81, 80, 81, 82, I really like this style of music, and so some of these are some of my favourites from that time. So at number 30, In for the Count by Balance, American band, features Pepe Castro, who played with the Blue Magoos, and a guy called Bob Kulick, who originally auditioned for Kiss but lost out to Ace Frehley, but did eventually play with them on some studio tracks on a variety of albums over the years. But In for the Count, the title track, a good example of the genre. At number 29, we've got American band The Babies, and this is Union Jacks, although it does feature a British singer, John Waite, who went on to have a reasonable solo career, in fact, producing a single called Missing You, which was quite successful. This is Jonathan Cain, who I think this is the last time he recorded with The Babies, went on to then join Journey and was part of their transformation into this mega stadium rock act that they became. But this is a decent album, especially the first side. So Back on My Feet Again, True Love, True Confessions, Midnight Rendezvous, all good songs, all good examples. Next album I remember buying, because I bought 3 albums from a record shop when I was at uni that cost me 30p for 3 albums, so each one were 10p each. And at 28 is one of those albums. It's the second album from Huey Lewis and the News, Picture This, which I really enjoy. I know he went on to bigger and better things with The Power of Love on the back of Back to the Future, and all the Hip to Be Square and all those kind of things, but I think this is a brilliant album. Change of Heart is a AOR classic, as is Do You Believe in Love, but Giving It All Up for Love, Tell Me a Little Lie, Is It Me, The Only One, fantastic songs. And that's the second album from Huey Lewis. And The News from 82, also from 82, and also 10p, is the 4th album or 3rd album, something like that, from Eddie Money. Now, he's probably produced better albums than No Control, but this is a nostalgic pick for me. I love this album. Shakin', Running Away, Think I'm in Love, AOR classic, Take a Little Bit, great stuff. And that's also from 82 on Epic Records. So that's Eddie Money, No Control. From 1979 is an album produced by a guy called Mike Stone, who went on to produce quite a lot of these kinds of bands. It's also partly produced by Paul Stanley of Kiss, and the band is New England. This is their debut. This is a band from New England. In fact, they were from Boston, but that name was already taken. And this is probably more pomp rock than it is AOR, but it's a really good album. Don't Ever Want to Lose You, stream that. That's an AOR classic, great stuff. Shoot is also a tremendous song. So that's New England. At 25 is a band that I saw on their first UK tour, in fact the first ever gig, and they abandoned it about a quarter way through because the lead singer had jet lag and was throwing up off stage. The band is Triumph, Canadian 3-piece, and I bought it as a blind buy because I was really into Rush, and I thought, oh, and Mahogany Rush, and I thought, oh, Canadian 3-piece, and I really enjoy this album. The title track is great, Hold On is good, Lay It On The Line is a fantastic AOR song. So that's probably about the 3rd, 4th album by Triumph, Just a Game. At number 24 is the debut album from Toto, featuring their classic Hold the Line, which is just a brilliant song. This was a band that had featured on so many albums from other people. Boz Scaggs, Michael Jackson, a whole variety. Steve Lukather, the guitarist, has probably played guitar on most albums in the kind of early 80s, I would have thought. The thing that I always find amazing about Toto, given that they are such brilliant musicians, I mean, they are stellar studio musicians. Jeff Porcaro was one of the best rock drummers ever. I mean, just amazing. But they never produced absolutely classic albums. I know Toto 4 is often seen as their classic with Africa and Rosanna, but I do really like this album. And again, a little bit of a nostalgic pick. That's from 78. That's probably the earliest of this genre. Into the mid-80s, if all these albums came out at the same time, this would be higher up, but I'm just a bit tired of hearing the songs on this album, and that's Slippery When Wet by Bon Jovi. It is an AOR classic, you know. You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer. God, I wish I'd written Living on a Prayer. What a song. Wanted, Dead or Alive, Raise Your Hands, Never Say Goodbye. You know, classics of the genre, just a little bit overplayed. But one of the songs on here, which I think is one of the best songs, you don't hear very much, and that's Let It Rock, the opening song, which is really, really good. So that's Bon Jovi at 23. At 22, Asia, their first album, bit of a super group. This has got, this is produced by Mike Stone. This has got Jeff Downes, Steve Howe, Carl Palmer and John Wetton, so a real super group. The first couple of songs are certainly the best. They piled the best songs into the first three, I think. Heat at the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, which is my favourite, and Soul Survivor. But that's a really good example of a non-American band sounding very American. At number 21's possibly not a band you've heard of. It's not an album that I see very much mentioned. In fact, I may be the only person that's ever mentioned this album. And this is an album that I revisited recently and almost prompted me to do this video. That the band is called Riff Raff and the album is called Vinyl Futures with its Hypnosis cover. I like the cover. This is a really, really solid album. It's got a song on here called Treat Me Right, which Pat Benatar took and made her own, although it is written by this band. But Nina, Shades of Blue, I Ain't Gonna Run Anymore, AOR, brilliance, I love it. Hall of Mirrors, fantastic. It's a really, really good album. I don't think it's on Spotify, but it's definitely on YouTube, and that's a really good album. Enjoy that. At number 20, an album that by a band who produced a song that almost defined this genre, and of course that's the theme from Rocky. But this is an album which is probably their sixth album or so. This is from 1986. So you know this is Survivor, and it's called When Seconds Count, and it features, I think, one of their greatest songs, which is not Eye of the Tiger. Their greatest song for me is Rebel Sun, and that closes side one. And it's worthy of including in this top 30 just for that song. If you've not heard it, stream it. It's an AOR classic. Absolute epic. Brilliant. In 1981, I went to see some relatives of mine who lived just south of San Francisco. And so music like this was really big on the radio, and I bought a lot of albums home with me. And one of the albums that I loved from that time was this album by Jefferson Starship. So this is called Modern Times. This is from 1981. Now, obviously, this is a band that were famous for Jane, but this has also got some brilliant albums. And the single that I heard when I was in America in 81 was Stranger. I love that. But the opening track, Find Your Way Back, is brilliant. But my favourite closes side one, and it's called Save Your Love, which has some wonderful guitar moments at the end. It's really good. Side two is less good, but side one is really, really good. And that's why it's in my top 30. At number 18 is a band that probably a little bit more power pop than AOR, but there's some AOR moments on this album, and it's Cheap Trick and Dream Police. Love this album. This is from 1979. I think this came out just after the Budokan album, and I remember buying it on the back of Loving I Want You to Want Me and all those kinds of things, and I really love this album. Dream Police is fantastic. The House is rocking. Gonna Raise Hell is great. Need Your Love is fantastic, but the AOR classic on here is Way of the World. Oh, it's brilliant. What a band. Really enjoyed that album. Cheap Trick. At number 17, I think this guy is Canadian. His name is Aldo Nova, and this is his debut album. Now, I nearly chose this from, I think this is from 1991, Blood on the Bricks, which is also good album as well, but this is chock full of kind of those melodic rock kind of sounding stuff, searing guitar solos, harmonies, catchy choruses, you know, Heart to Heart, Fantasy, Hot Love, Under the Gun, all great songs if you like that kind of stuff. But if you want to listen to one song, Heart to Heart, great stuff. That's Aldo Nova. At number 16, moving away from North America to Ireland, or Britain really, but the lead guy in this is Irish. His name is Darren Wharton, and he played keyboards with Thin Lizzy. And the band that he created when Thin Lizzy broke up was Dare, and this is their debut album, Out of the Silence, which features Darren Wharton on vocals and keyboards. Also features another keyboard player, and that's Professor Bryan Cox, who played on a variety of albums, including obviously this by Dare. This is brilliant. This is from '88, and this is a tremendous AOR album. Into the Fire is great. The Rain Dance, a kind of homage to Phil Lynott is on here, King of Spades. The opening track though, Abandon, AOR classic, absolutely brilliant, and that's at number 16. At 15, again going away from North America, this time down under to Australia. And this is Jimmy Barnes and Freight Train Heart from the late 80s. This is probably about 88 sort of time. This is an album that features Neil Schon from Journey. I think Jonathan Cain is on here. It's produced by Jonathan Cain alongside Mike Stone, who produces a lot of these albums. I think Desmond Child probably has something to do with this as well. Very different possibly to some of the stuff that Jimmy Barnes has done before. But Too Much Ain't Enough Love, Waiting for the Heartache, Walk On, Last Frontier, some really, really good songs. And he's got a tremendously powerful voice, quite gravelly. He was in a band called Cold Chisel. And this is quite different to the stuff he's done before or since, but is really worth seeking out. That's at 15. At 14, the debut solo album from the lead singer from Journey, Steve Perry. This is Street Talk. Quite soul influence, quite sort of more melodic possibly than Journey, if you can imagine that. He produced a big single called Oh Sherry, which is a song I loved back in the kind of time this came out, which is about 84. I think it was just as I was about to start work, in fact. But really good album. Captured by the Moment is one of my favourites. So if you stream anything, Captured by the Moment is it. Still keeping away from North America, we're going this time to South Africa, and a guy who played in a latter version of Yes and transformed their sound for sure. Trevor Rabin. This is his third album, called Wolf. This is a tremendous album, really, really good album. It's got some good players on here. Jack Bruce is on here, Mo Foster is on here, both play bass. Simon Phillips, what a tremendous drummer he is. He's on the drums here. You know, melodic rock, great guitar playing, open-ended, Looking for a Lady, Long Island, Take Me to a Party, Lost in Love. Some tremendous songs on there, which, you know, if you've not heard this album and you like this style of music, you must seek it out. It's fantastic. At number 12, gone with a band. This is they were around a long time, and they were an interesting kind of mix of kind of styles until they discovered AOR, and they became very big in about 1980, 81 with a song called Keep On Loving You. Of course, that's REO Speedwagon, but this is their album before. I think this is their 9th album. So their success was a long time coming for this band. This is 9 Lives, and this has got some absolutely classic songs on it. Meet Me on the Mountain is tremendous, as is Only the Strong Survive, which was a single from this album. Heavy on Your Love is great, but the song that I think is brilliant is not sung by the usual singer, whose name is Kevin Cronin, I think. It's sung by their bassist Bruce Hall, and it's called Back on the Road Again, which is just brilliant. If you've not heard it, you must. I'm sure you have. At number 11, awful name band, as was REO Speedwagon, but Loverboy is much better. This is Canadian band Loverboy, and this is probably their 2nd album, I think. This is Get Lucky, which features the classic Working for the Weekend, which is an AOR classic. But Gangs in the Street, Jump When It's Over, Watch Out, you know, that's a great album. Really, really good album, again, if you like that sort of music. At number 10, I think this guy's possibly Australian, although very US based. And this is an album that features a massive hit for him. This came out in, when did this come out? 1980, I think. This is the album that features Jesse's Girl. And this is, I think he's Australian, Rick Springfield. And this is Working Class Dog. I love that cover. This is a really good album. Love Is Alright Tonight, AOR classic. Jesse's Girl, brilliant. Hole in My Heart, Carry Me Away. I've Done Everything for You, that Sammy Hagar covered. The Light of Love, all good songs. This is a really good album. If you like a good tune, a good melody, you're going to love that. If you like a good melody, then you're going to like the songwriting on this particular album. At number 9, the lead guy on here, Mark Mangold, had written for a number of people, and he continued to do so. In fact, he wrote I Found Someone by Cher, which is an AOR classic song in itself. The band are Touch. I remember seeing this live at the Monsters of Rock in 1980. I think famously, one of the members of the band swallowed a bee or a wasp during that particular gig. But this is a great album. They had a hit on here. Don't You Know What Love Is, which is probably the song that lots of people have heard. But Love Don't Fail Me Now, When the Spirit Moves You, Yes, You Need to Rock and Roll, Listen, Can You Feel It, which is a tremendous song. So that's a really good AOR pop rock kind of album, and really enjoy that. I used to play that loads. At number 8, this might surprise you, might horrify you, but please don't unsubscribe as a result of seeing this album. But way before he became kind of, you know, your mother's favourite crooner, he was an AOR god. And this is a solo artist who used the band Balance, who I mentioned earlier, almost as his backing band. And the album is his second album, and it's Michael Bolton and Everybody's Crazy. Now, before you diss this completely, you have to stream Save Our Love. It's got one of the most anthemic choruses ever committed to vinyl as an AOR song. It's absolutely brilliant. Everybody's Crazy, Can't Turn It Off, Call My Name, Every Time, Don't Tell Me It's Over. It is chock full of AOR classics. You know, he's got an amazingly powerful voice, and his stuff is not for me, but this album is absolutely brilliant. Save Our Love, stream it, you won't be disappointed. It's amazing. Okay, we're back to the 10p albums, the final one of the 3 at number 7. This guy from Canada went on to very, very big things. This is one of his earlier albums. I think it's his second album. He did an album that followed this, I believe, that was his breakthrough album. But this is Bryan Adams and Cuts Like a Knife. This is a tremendous album, an album I used to play loads. The Only One, Take Me Back, what a song that is. This Time, Cuts Like a Knife, I'm Ready, What's It Gonna Be? Just brilliant stuff. I saw him live in '87. He was fantastic. I always loved his voice. Yeah, he became, you know, a little bit kind of smooth over the years, but this is a great rock album and a really good example of the genre of melodic rock. So if you have not heard it for a while, check it out again. Cuts Like a Knife, fantastic. I went to the States in '81, as I said. One single that was massive on the radio there was The Stroke by Billy Squier, and he's at number 6. And the Stroke is on this album, Don't Say No. This is the opening song, In the Dark, is just so powerful. It's brilliant. My Kind of Lover, You Know What I Like, 2 Days Gone, What Do You Want From Me, Nobody Knows, Lonely Is the Night, another great song. But In the Dark, wow, that is, the drum sound on that is out of this world. And that's Billy Squier, Don't Say No, from '81, and that's at number 6. At number 5, I nearly went with the debut album by this band, but this is their second album, I think, maybe their third, and it's Night Ranger, and this is Midnight Madness. Now, I nearly went with Dawn Patrol, which does feature Don't Tell Me You Love Me, which is my favourite Night Ranger song. I love that song, but this is more consistent, I feel, and this has got You Can Still Rock in America, which is awful, and a big hit for them, Sister Christian, which I don't particularly like. But Rumours in the Air, Passion Play, Chipping Away, When You Close Your Eyes, melodic rock heaven. If you like that sort of music, then you're going to love those tracks. So that's Night Ranger and Midnight Madness, and that's from, when's that, '83, I think. At number 4, I think this band have probably done better albums I enjoy more, but this one is more indicative of this particular genre. The band are Styx, and this is Paradise Theatre. I just love this album. It's a concept album, and the voice of the lead singer, whose name just escaped me, but his voice isn't for everybody. He's quite almost theatre sounding, I think. But The Best of Times, and this album is called Paradise Theatre, that song's brilliant, but the song The Best of Times, which has a refrain that features right across this album, is just a brilliant, brilliant tune. Halfpenny, Twopenny, Nothing Goes as Planned, you know, there's Too Much Time on My Hands. There's just a bunch of amazing songs on this album. So that's Paradise Theatre from Styx. So we're into the top 3, and these won't surprise you. There are no surprises really from now on in. At number 3 is a band that I think have is it a British singer or British guitarist, I think. A tremendous album, features Junior Walker playing sax on this, and he plays sax on the biggest hit, possibly the biggest hit, maybe not, a song called Urgent, which was a big hit when I went to the States. The album is Foreigner 4. So this has also got Waiting for a Girl Like You, one of their big ballads. But Nightlife is fantastic. Break It Up, brilliant. Don't Let Go, tremendous stuff. But Jukebox Hero, oh wow, what a great song that is. Jukebox Hero from Foreigner 4, that's my number 3 AOR album. At number 2, and I could have gone with any one of 3 albums by this band, and it was a real toss-up between this band and the number 1. So the band are Journey, and there are 1 or 2 albums that I could have chosen. I could have chosen Raised on Radio, which is from '86, features Jonathan Cain, Neil Schon, Steve Perry, and a couple of other guys, not the original players of Ross Valerie and Steve Smith, which was a shame. They featured on this album from '83, Frontiers, which was a brilliant album, features one of my favourite songs by Journey called Edge of the Blade, which is their heaviest song, I think. It's amazing. Again, produced by Mike Stone, Kevin Elson as well. But it's a strange album because there was a couple of songs that they did, Only the Lonely and Ask the Young, which featured on some, I think, some soundtracks, which were brilliant songs that should have featured on here. Instead of putting those on here, they put Back Talk, I think Rubicon Frontiers, some really just not very good songs, and so the quality really dips. Had they put those 2 songs on it, this album, Frontiers, would definitely challenge my second favourite AOR album of all time, and that's Escape by Journey. I loved this in 1981, and I still really enjoy it now. Yes, we've overheard, of course, Don't Stop Believing, which must have billions of downloads, I would have thought. Who's Crying Now? It has the most lyrical melodic guitar solo at the end. It's just a masterpiece. Stone in Love, Keep on Running, Lay It Down, Open Arms, another one of their ballads. Still They Ride, another one of their ballads. But if you want a deep cut from here that you may not have heard much, Mother, Father. Oh, it's tremendous. And I just think this album is so consistent and so brilliant. I wish I'd written Don't Stop Believing. Wow, what a song. So that's Escape from 1981 by Journey. And at number 1, there is only one album that for me contends for the prize of the best melodic album. And what's interesting about it is it sits quite a bit in terms of its age before the others, and that is from '76 on Epic Records, and the debut album from Boston, a masterpiece of an album, one of the greatest debut albums of all time in any genre for me. The first side of this album is pretty perfect. More Than a Feeling, I never tire of that song. Peace of Mind and Foreplay Long Time, the longer song on side 1, is just a majestic epic. It's brilliant. Side 2, quality dips a little bit, but this is a fantastic album, and I would never get tired of listening to it. So there's my 30 favourite AOR melodic rock albums. What have I missed? Tell me your favourites, and I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll see each other soon. Cheers.